Now follows an announcement by the Jambags Comedy Gaming podcast. Here at Jambags, we wanted to restate our commitment to producing only the best possible content for our listeners. That means that sometimes the podcast might come in a little later than planned, and for that, we can only apologise. We are doing this to add those extra few layers of polish that you would expect from a full Jambags experience. We'll be releasing this month's podcast when it's ready, and not a moment before. And so, without further delay, welcome to the first 2021 Jambags Comedy Gaming podcast with me, Dante Rodriguez.
And me, Rudy Go.
Oh, hey Rudy, you sound great, completely natural, and like you normally do. Did you have a good New Year's break?
Yes, Dante. I had very much fun. And the laughs. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, Rudy, you legend. That was a classic Manchego one-liner.
Yes, Dante. You are clearly the best Jambags host.
Oh, well, it's nice of you to finally admit that, Rudy.
Video games are good and funny things, aren't they?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Rudy. I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077, finally. I'm very happy about it. It's a masterfully created game. Absolutely flawless in its execution. No bugs whatsoever.
Input, error, internet lies, detected.
Oh, Rudy, you're so funny.
Wait, what the hell is going on here? What's this thing? Why does it look like me?
Alert, error, duplicate data, detected, error.
Oh, Rudy! Oh, God! What are you doing here? Look, it's not what it looks like, okay?
Well, for a start, that's not anatomically correct. Why would I have a flamethrower down there?
Purging irrelevant data. Goodbye, old Manchego.
Oh, Rudy, look out! What's it doing?
Incendiary appendage malfunction. I can't live without my robot dong. Initiating self-destruct.
Oh my God! Oh man! Oh. Hey Rudy, welcome back. We better get on with this podcast then, I suppose.
Hang a minute, what was that thing? Were you using that to replace me? It seemed like it was buggier than Cyberpunk.
Shut the up!
And welcome Jambaggers to a new 2021 edition of the Jambags Comedy Gaming Podcast. I'm your co-host, Rudy Manchego, and with me is...
Mr. Dante Rodriguez, the other co-host with the most that's a co-host.
Yes, that's smooth. Well done for that introduction. 2021, we've made it, guys. I say made it. We've just literally, while recording, got into the harshest lockdown yet.
Yes.
But... You know,
is it the final lockdown? Okay,
Till I get jabbed with a needle, presumably with vaccine in it. I don't know.
That would be the preferable way, isn't it? Well, needles with vaccine. Not.
I have a question for you, actually, Dante, about the vaccine. So, for those reading listening in the future, months in the future, or years in the future, you might know the answer to this already. So you know, but do you think? I'm just throwing it out there. Or are you excited by the prospect that maybe, just maybe, this vaccine, because it's gone quite quickly, will give you superpowers of some kind?
Well, I assume it'll be, the stuff that will be left by toxic waste that's just lying about the place like it is normally will give a few people different superpowers. That's just a natural byproduct of any vaccination, isn't it?
Yeah, because I know that there's talk potentially of mixing different vaccines, and when you mix medical things together, I'm fairly certain it's either... poisonous, kills you, or it makes you super in some way.
That's pretty much how it works.
So,
I think, because the virus is mutating and coming up with new strains and stuff like that, it's going to have to be people mutating and turning into X-Men style mutants that are going to have to kill the virus once and for all.
No, I agree. I can't really see it going the other way. So hopefully by next podcast, well, actually I don't know if we'll have had our vaccine by then, but we'll keep tracking our changes. Once we do, we'll let anyone know if we've developed any kind of superpowers whatsoever, I guess.
Yeah.
But
lucky people in the future who already have them. I mean, you're the people that we're really trying to live up to here, future listeners who already are invulnerable human beings.
Well, actually, thinking about it, if it was like Heroes and people could time travel, in theory, any second now, wait a sec, a listener will come back from the future to the past and tell us. Ready? So, 1, 2, 3. Okay. There's only two explanations. One is that no one developed time travel powers, or 2, they didn't listen to the podcast if they did, which is unlikely. So it's got to be number 1.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to get into any kind of post-apocalyptic time capsules with our zany brand of sketches and not very much game information.
Well, it's unlikely they haven't listened to us, but. Anyway, so should we just, talk about what we have been doing in our isolated state, which is that we've both got current gen I'd say next gen, but current gen now consoles. You have the Series X.
I do.
I have the PS5. What have you been playing on it? With your big chunky box?
With my big old breeze block as it is. No, I've probably been playing more Assassin's Creed Valhalla than anything else, which, given that I got really into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I guess no one could have possibly seen coming, but it looks phenomenal, despite being set in England in the Dark Ages, where everything's a bit brown. It still manages to look pretty great. Getting to know the characters and the gameplay style, the combat is pretty satisfying that I found there as well. So yeah, but also some pretty good games like Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is a really sort of charming game. It's maybe not quite as bloated as some of the other Ubisoft games out there. I've played a bit of Cyberpunk, and don't want to talk about that too much because.
Okay, look, we should just let our listeners know that we're gonna, we're going to keep the Cyberpunk stuff. It's still a bit too raw for Dante to process. We had a quick sketch at the start, which was a kind of explanation of it, but from a pure counselling perspective, we aren't going to get into the Cyberpunk debacle too much. We're going to try and we've got other stuff to talk about. We're just going to skirt around that.
Just about coping with it by the fact that, in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm just seeing this as another delay. The game's been released, sure, but it's as if it should have been delayed, and in my head, I'm just not going to play it properly until everything's straightened out.
Yeah, you're treating it as an early access release. We don't typically have the time to get involved with early access and do bug spotting for stuff. So we're just waiting until it comes out of beta, really, or beta or whatever. And
that'd be good. So what are you playing at the minute, Rudy?
Oh, I've got a PS5. So many exclusives. Just
so many.
But yeah, so I finished Spider-Man Miles Morales on it, and now I'm using the full power of the console by playing an indie game that can run on an iPhone. Playing the Pathless, which is great. It does look really nice and colourful. The music's beautiful, really nice, fairly tranquil. Some amazing scenery in it. Quite enjoying it. I'm sort of just laid back. I do have Demon's Souls on the shelf, and I still, I really want to play it. And
are you worried it's going to be hard?
Well, I know it's going to be hard. And I know it's going to be stressful. And I know at the end of it all, I've gone to look back and go, oh, that was I really enjoyed that. But playing it, I'm not really in the headspace to play something really stressful. I think it's just the condition of the world right now, which is that I felt pretty good, playing the Pathless and just kind of not having too much complex, it being like a really sort of nice, simple story.
I know what you mean. One I didn't say a few seconds ago is Forza Horizon 4 I've been playing. That is kind of the definition of a gentle kind of casual game for me. You can just kind of bumble around a really nice, beautiful looking England and maybe do some speed traps and a couple of races or anything like that, but nothing too stressful, nothing too involved. And it's nice to have something that's not going to tax you too much, particularly when I set the difficulty to almost nothing on when I play it.
Yeah, well, I can't play racing games, as you well know, to save my life, so I have to have difficulty lower on that. And so I think that's the main thing. I have, having said that, I have been playing Hollow Knight on and off for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, and that is a bit difficult, but it's actually, I'm not finding it too stressful. I'm quite enjoying. Again, it's got really great ambience to it, so I'm just kind of enjoying exploring. Not really too into the boss fights or anything because they are difficult, but just exploring Metroidvania kind of, yeah, and I'm really liking that game as well. It's my third go at trying it. So, but I think I'm going to ease myself into 2021 with just some chill games. I'm going to give myself a go on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I was gifted for Christmas.
Excellent.
And yeah, because again, that's very much the kind of pick up and just lose yourself in for a few hours kind of game.
You can do a little bit. You can just explore. I mean, it's nice just to sail around the rivers in England as well. It's
how I feel. I enjoy rivers in England. It's one of my many things that I like about living in God's country. Is the rivers, particularly when they flood near my house. That's also great.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it, when things flood?
So I think that should be our approach to the podcast. Dante, we'll just go chilled. It's just going to be we've got some news. This is typically the worst time to do a podcast, as you know, start of January of a new year. We're recording this literally the first day back at work for everyone, and not much is happening in the gaming world. The rest of the world's on fire, but the gaming world's still quite quiet. So we thought we'd do a topical podcast on it. But we have got some stories we can go through people and a few bits and bobs. So
there's some kind of stuff that's from the tail end of last year, which is still worth talking about. So
it's fair dues.
Let's get on with it.
Cool. All right then, let's move on to our next segment from the Jambags.
And welcome to our regular news segment on the Jambags Comedy Gaming podcast. It's the From the Jambags News. Mm-hmm. And as we said, we have a few interesting stories, some of them from the tail end of last year, nothing really new, so you may know about some of these things that have been going on. But I thought we'll just get straight into our first one. And again, we've touched on it in other parts of our podcast. I think Rudy's behind us touched on it a little bit too literally. It's about scalpers. Yep. No sugar involved with this one.
Topic. No, we've not. For those who haven't listened to our, last month's episode, the only way that we could get a Xbox Series X for Dante was through, I'm going to literally say some backdoor connections, and by that I had to smuggle Class A drugs in bits of my body that I want to go into, and was narrowly avoided the stabbing, but of a literal kind.
Meant we get to go back and listen to that. Song, though, but give that last one a listen to if you want to hear some bad singing.
Yeah, scalping is still a problem, isn't it? Dante,
it is. It has become quite the problem. Scalpers have apparently made so much money from selling scalped PS5s and Series X's. They've actually managed to buy an island the size of Greenland. They might even actually be Greenland, I'm not sure. And they've seceded from any and all countries that they previously belonged to. So now there is Scalpsville, or Scalper Island as it's now called.
Wow. I mean, that's cold. I mean, literally.
Oh, yeah.
Greenland is very cold.
Very chilly.
Year. But also, morally very cold as well.
Yeah, it's very murky, very cold, very sort of grey area in lots of different ways. So apparently Scalper Island is now open to tourists, or punters, as apparently they're wanting to be called, looking to buy games consoles, but also trainers at 300% markup from their recommended retail prices.
Wow, I mean, they're basic. That's a dangerous proposition for a country's economy, isn't it? Which is heavily marked up goods that could be got cheaper elsewhere. But I guess if they're in demand, they're assuming that people will come and spend their hard-earned cash, and or freeze to death if they don't like to pay for it.
Absolutely, no. They probably will end up doing quite a few of those things. So it's a bit like I've been watching a lot of Black Sails lately. It's a bit like the kind of the pirate nation that they're trying to create. They created a scalper nation, basically the size of Greenland. Now, the world's governments, the NATO, and all those people, they're thinking maybe about doing something about it. But as long as games companies get paid, people pay tax, they don't really seem to care. So it's just going to keep going by the looks of it.
I'm going to say something that's perhaps a bit controversial here and a bit damning, because I don't know if any of our listeners, are partaking of scalpers or anything like that. But I'm going to say right now is that if you support anyone that scalps in there, ultimately, there was only one way this was ever going to go, and that was always going to be with scalpers setting up their own independent country where they would use their geopolitical power to make sure that all goods are overpriced so they get more profit. that was the only outcome. So, I hope everyone's happy with themselves that did that,
Yeah, no.
It was obviously on the cards.
Yeah, no, it was the only logical thing that was going to happen, So slightly elevated prices to massively elevated prices to brand new pirate nations and a threat to world security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. So I mean, great. Okay, well done, everyone out there that's caused this new nation that has its own weapon of mass destruction, which is PS5
scalping bots, that are bringing cybersecurity to its knees. So, anyway, let's have a slightly less horrible story. Rudy, what have you got for us?
Well, this is another one which is to do with politics and trade, actually. I'm just going to get the headline out of the way, then we'll go into some of the details here. So for those that aren't in the know, the PS5 has got the Dual Sense controller, which has haptic feedback and variable vibration. And it's been uncovered that you can buy, obviously they get packaged with the console, but you can buy them separately. And it's one of the few accessories that are available. But they're now being bought up en masse by sex toy manufacturers facing a shortage of parts from China. So obviously we've got COVID still hitting hard. Supply chains have been affected in a lot of the tech sector. We've seen that with consoles, we've seen that with PC components, and now we're seeing it with sex toys. We've also got Brexit making things difficult, and obviously we've got there's still a bunch of in charge of the world. So sex toy manufacturers are struggling to meet demand, particularly people locked down and unable to get their freak on.
So I mean, obviously, theoretically, I'd never get you to admit this live on air, but I mean, theoretically, have you tried it with your DualSense controller, and theoretically, is it as good as one might expect?
Well, I'm not the expert on this. I'll be 100% honest, as you know, and I haven't tried it as yet. What I understand is that the DualSense, because it's the available and it's got a very powerful set of vibration components, by pulling it apart, they can actually create some really interesting tech. We've actually got a quick comment from one of the previous Jambag contributors, though, for God knows why, Cyril Moist, head of uppersnappers.com, which is the barely legal cosplay photographer and publisher. I say barely legal. Illegal is possibly the word, but he's taken interest in this story, and that's the one that flagged it down for us. And I'll just quickly play a part of the message he left us on our voicemail. There we go. I'll just quickly cue that up for you.
Well, the thing is that the DualSense has got the most sophisticated vibration technology known to man, and if used in just the right spot, can tickle all 4 G-spots of any living creature.
So,
wow.
I mean,
okay. The mind boggles as to how he's figured that out. Exactly how much
I learned something from that voicemail. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, the fact that there are 4. Yeah, but okay. So, is this confirmed? I mean, can it actually do that stuff?
Well, I asked confirmation, and I'll quote what he said. I texted him this after I got the voicemail to see his opinion, and the response I got was, that's what I got back from him. So I don't know. I mean, but if you are trying to buy a controller and you can't find one, there is a good chance that the components for your controller are in a sex toy somewhere. So,
oh God!
There you go.
I'm glad that I have basically what is a last gen controller for the Series X that's not got crazy sex toy adaptation available for it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that the Elite will, the Elite Pro controller for the Xbox Series X will feature its own dildo or something. I don't know, or fleshlight built into it.
It seems pretty likely. Yeah. I mean, the main thing I've noticed about the Series X controller is that it is ribbed for my pleasure. So yeah, it seems quite likely that it's going to go that way.
Well, you seem to, I talked to Cyril Moist about that. But we're going to move on. We're going to do a really weird segue from sex toy to food toys.
Yes, no, to that interesting subgenre of gaming fast food stories. And I have a story for us about, well, I mean, it comes from the KFC console, which has actually turned out to be a real thing. Myself, like every other internet commentator out there, not that anyone listens to me on the internet, assumed it was some kind of internet prank. but the KF console is actually a real thing. Apparently, another company with no connection to gaming whatsoever have decided to get into the games console market.
Ooh, okay. What's this? What's this breaking news?
Well, it's a company that's kind of went through a kind of faddy stage a few years ago, and they've sort of disappeared a little bit. I mean, although I don't really get involved with kitchen appliances too much, so I don't really know. But the company behind the George Foreman fat grilling machines has decided to make a comeback with their own console.
Ooh.
So, it's called the George Foreskin, and it can be used to play video games at the breakneck 240 FPS, and it can also cook your bacon or sausages in a lean way.
Wow, that is a unique combination that I don't think any console on the market currently offers, does it?
No, even the KF console I don't think can quite manage this level of food combination, to actually cook the food, not just keep it warm like the KF console will do. This will actually cook your meat products for you. And apparently 100% of the fat that comes out of the food you cook is recycled back into the machine, and it's used as a separate power source. So it will actually power itself using the fat that came out of your food.
That is ingenious, and I think if we're going to save the world from climate change, I mean, for example, fat bergs that get caught in, pipes and blockages from all the fat that gets, flushed down drains or into, rivers and whatnot is a really serious problem. So just, getting that fat, which is bad for us, but then using it to power our games is, frankly genius, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can be shut off by the electric company for months and still power your gaming, so you've got everything you need. You can cook food and play games at the same time. It's like you're completely self-sufficient survivalist individual if you have one of these things. So we've got a few more details about the controllers. Apparently they are two lamb chop nunchucks. They're a bit greasy, but basically you bash your TV screen with these lamb chops, or the little mini screen that comes with it, because it's a bit like a Switch. It's got a mini monitor built into it, which means the George Foreskin is completely portable.
I mean, that sounds likely. Is there an option for, obviously, I'm thinking for, we're a very inclusive podcast. We are meat eaters, but there are, vegetarians or vegans out there. Will there be a vegetarian or vegan option for those people who don't want to grip their meat?
I think, yes. No, there is one. I mean, they're working on the vegan version now, but the vegetarian version is 2 sticks of halloumi that you also have to grill. Again, a bit greasy, but it still works.
Well, I mean, the grease isn't the problem, really, because obviously that's powering the machine. You want something greasy, otherwise,
Exactly,
again, the vegetarians are going to have a far less, rewarding experience. I guess, I wonder if, they'll be going something like tofu or something like that for, soy-based.
I think so. I mean, if you can get the fat out to power, I don't know if they're going to be able to do the self-sufficient powering thing with the vegan version, but I'll be interested to see what kind of solutions they come up with for that particular issue. So got to include all walks of life in this one.
I mean, this feels very much like a return to the heady days of the early 90s, doesn't it? With everyone and their cousins and stuff producing games consoles and just throwing stuff at the wall. And I'm quite happy with that. I hope there's more.
I do too. I would quite happily see what other companies might come out with when they're trying to make those consoles. I mean, can you imagine something like a B&Q console? Sort of that builds a cabinet for you, or an IKEA console that assembles your flat pack furniture while you're
there
gaming.
are a lot of there's a lot of possibilities with a Dyson with a really powerful suction.
Yes, no, that would be definitely an attachment I would be intrigued about.
Yeah, exactly, and that could then power your own console. Anyway, okay, well that's good, and you might be really hungry for some halloumi, but. One last story that I've
some of that actually. That's a really good idea.
One new story that I've got here is from our good friends at Hat Division, Snowstorm.
Yeah.
Those guys have announced that their latest title in the very long-running Shooty Shooty Bang Bang series, it's called Shooty Shooty Bang Bang Cold Nips, will blow my mind, will automatically expand when downloaded to take up all available space on your console or PC's hard drive.
What?
So put in context, the base game is approximately 80 gig, which is large, but that is quite common for...
That's pretty standard for
Activision Snowstorm's games.
Even the first Doom 2016 was like 60 or 70 or something like that.
Exactly. So, these are graphic intensive games. I'm not saying I like it, but I understand it. But if you've, it's quite a large size, but if you have any spare space beyond that, be it, particularly say, for example, if you've,
not filled your entire console with
Exactly.
indie games and Ubisoft open worlds like I probably would have done.
Yeah, the game files will bloat up and absorb it all. So, I mean, to give it perspective, we've got a quote here I pulled offline from one.
Just for the hell of it, just to basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll comment some of the they've not released a statement on this, but someone's commented online about this that was interesting one. I just said, I'm just going to quote here. This was the first game I got for my Xbox Series X because there are no other games, and I installed it, and it ballooned in size to approximately 800 gigabytes. I got a message that I could reduce this by buying a season pass, some skins on my guns, costumes, and a loser fee that would reduce it by 32 gigs in total. This has taken up all my space, so I guess I need to play this one game forever and ever and ever. So I think that comment there, to me, tells me why Activision Snowstorm have done this.
It's amazing how quotes from magazines have accents like that as well. I'm quite impressed.
I tell you what, I'm going to show one behind the scenes of making a podcast. That was me. I did a silly voice because in my head that's how I read it, someone talking like that. But through the power of audio, our listeners won't twig that.
No, we probably better not mention it.
What I do is I imagine that I'm someone who would buy shooty bang bang cold nips and absorb it all and not play any other games, and that's the voice that manifests itself. It's
here, have you got a copy of Shooty Bang Bang Cold Nips? I've been dying to play that, I have.
Exactly. That's the voice, that's what you channeled. You're in a Cold Nips player. So, but that's just, listeners, you're just seeing behind the curtain there. That's the secret and magic of podcast. Ooh.
So the Cold Nips game has basically become like malware then, essentially.
Yeah, what it does is that, I think it's quite clear that Activision and Snowstorm don't want you having lots of games that are distracting you from being on their game and spending money. So they just make sure you can't play anything else. So unless the only way really to get around it is to install all the other games you want and make sure you've only got 80 gig or so, spare, and install it. Otherwise, you're going to swamp everything else.
Yeah. You're knackered, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
Jeez, right.
So, I mean, it's a scummy move, but, one that seems very much like it's Activision's MO.
Yeah, very much in line with 2020, and yet ever-expanding scummy business practices by various video game companies. Yay.
Yeah. Yay. Well, that rounds up our news coverage. We've got a State of the Gaming Nation coming up next, I think.
I think we do, yes. So, thanks, Jambaggers. On to the next segment.
State of the Gaming Nation.
Hey, Rudy. Happy New Year 2021. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's New Year, I suppose. That's good. I mean, 2020's over. It's been a tough old year, isn't it?
It sure has, Rudy. I mean, I hope we can start getting vaccinated. Get those little pricks in our arms, like you've had for a while. Get back to a normal life. Perhaps get back to meeting up. Maybe gaming conventions. I mean, it'd be so great to go to EGX with all this. Start seeing those things at the light at the end of the tunnel. Really pick up where we left off last year and kind of forget the whole last 12 months didn't really happen. Really kind of keep up with our resolution to engage with our listeners and, make more content.
I suppose.
Rudy, come on, what's the matter with you? You haven't come up with a dopey selling out scheme all week. What's wrong with you?
Nothing. I mean, nothing really. I don't know. It's just this feeling that's been growing inside me just for a while now.
A feeling of what? I mean, do you need to go to the toilet or something?
No, but I'm talking about, this is like an emotional thing. Those things when you make it sound like it's actually physically affecting you with
emotions. Yes, I've heard of them. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, didn't you get loads of games and gaming crap for Christmas? Didn't that cheer you up?
Yes. I mean, I got loads actually. I was really lucky to get an absolute stack of gaming stuff over the Christmas period, and that was great.
Yeah, I mean, okay, things are grim right now. We just have to knuckle down and get through this, and we've got plenty of games to deal with.
Yeah, you're right. Only Dante,
Yeah.
How large is your backlog now? Gaming backlog now.
Yeah, no, the other backlog we don't want to talk about on air at all. I mean, it's pretty large. I mean, I guess you include all the platforms I've got. I mean, I've got Xbox One games, PS4 games, games that are on the Series X as well. I've also got the Vita, which I've only played a few games on. Retro consoles, my PS2. I keep buying PS2 games in charity shops. So yeah, it's a pretty big backlog.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you here, but I kind of think I've got a problem with mine.
Is your backlog getting a bit on the large side?
But by large, do you mean unmanageable?
Unmanageable?
Yeah, well, it's just on last gen on PS4, I have like 20 games I bought, and that's not counting all the freebies on PS Plus that I've not played yet. So, I've got quite a few there.
20's not too bad. You get a few of those as well. It's not terrible.
Yeah, but then you add all those PS Plus games that I, every month it comes on, whether I want them or not, and I accept them, add them to my library, and then it balloons up to several hundred.
Okay, but a lot of those games probably don't interest you, right? I mean, you don't have to play just because they're free and given to you. You don't have to play them, right?
No, you're right. But that's my point is that's just PlayStation. Okay, I have a Switch that's got at least another 20 plus games that I've never played on there.
Okay, this is starting to get a little higher. Sure, I can see that.
And then on PC, I've got a stack of the free Epic games that I always, I've got at least another 30 games of random stuff I've bought on Steam.
Just doing a little totaling up there, so that is getting maybe a little bit on the high side.
And then I have the Xbox with another 20 odd games there. I also have Game Pass.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yes, there are hundreds of games on Game Pass. That's becoming better value with EA and then Bethesda games that are going to be going on there.
And I have Apple Arcade too.
Oh, okay. Wow, add Apple Arcade to it. Sure, maybe.
Plus retro consoles. I have at least 100 retro games across platforms. That's physical games. With emulation, it's possibly illegally higher.
That's a lot. I mean, have you forgotten anything?
I think I've got a copy of GTA Vice City on Android.
Yeah, I've got that on my iPad as well. But do we need to give you some sort of intervention? Because I mean, mine's bad. Yours is getting pretty out of hand there. Yeah,
I mean, possibly. But here's the thing. Here's the rub, and it's really got me wondering. On a larger scale, I'd say it's like I rarely pay. I didn't pay much for most of these games. A stack of them came via subscription services. Majority were on sales. I didn't pay much for them. Some of them are even free codes or bonus codes and stuff, particularly, some of the Steam games. It's just insane how little I've actually paid for all these games.
Okay, I mean, sure, things have changed. I mean, when I was a child, I only had a few games a year as presents. So, I'd pick them up on, let's go back to the days of cassette tapes, sort of floppy disks as well. I had to borrow some from my mates now and then, so I didn't kind of have access to quite as many games. And now the industry's bigger, it's big business, and, we're older and we've got more disposable income, sort of.
Yeah, but Dante, come closer.
Mm-hmm.
Too close.
Yeah.
What if it's more than that? Okay. What if we, the Jambags Comedy Gaming podcast, have just become a cog in a far larger capitalist machine?
What? What on earth? What?
It's the hype cycle. They're always moving on to the next big thing, never taking the time to look back. Most of our sketches are about newer upcoming games, right? Yet we've never get a chance to play them. I've got Demon's Souls for PS5 and I haven't played it, but people are already on about Elden Ring. The conversation just moves too fast.
Yeah, but you suck at Souls games. I mean, it's probably best you haven't been playing that one. You get depressed.
Yeah, that's true when it comes to Souls games. But that said, every time we talk about a new game, we are feeding into the gaming media. We're playing into the big corporations' hands. Okay, games themselves are just disposable. They're fated to be bought at launch or heavily discounted and never played. We buy them all, promising we'll play them, but knowing we never ever will. We're always looking for the next big hit to be part of the conversation. We set up subscription services. We'll never use more than a few games per year just in case we miss out. Publishers hype, the media escalates that hype and the wheels trundle on. If you talk about a game over a week old, you're buried in the social media algorithm. You're screaming into the void of desolation.
Okay, that's quite a bleak picture. Are you on your seasonal come down again?
But, it goes bigger than that, Dante. It is bigger than that. It goes to the core of our society. It goes beyond gaming. This is an indictment of our capitalist society, Dante. Gaming is just one of the industries drip feeding us consumables to make us forget about the state of the world, the decline of the planet, and the oppression of all but the social elite within society. Don't you understand, Dante? Don't you see? My backlog is the ultimate symbolism of late-stage capitalism. I have more games than I can ever play, even if I had no job and did nothing else, and yet I still buy more and more and more, always looking forward to the next game and an inexorable death march of dissatisfaction and alienation from my life and loved ones. This is our future, and the world is burning around us. Do you not see?
Well, I mean, when you put it that way, yeah. Kind of makes me feel like there's very little point to anything, but I mean, are you going to pre-order that Elden Ring thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've already pre-ordered Elden Ring in the special edition, Steelbox Bath edition, obviously. Yeah. Why'd you ask? Dante, I've got a fantastic new get-rich-quick scheme.
Oh, thank for that, Rudy. I'm so glad you're back to your old self. This mopey, whiny little bitch Rudy was really bringing me down. So I'm glad you're back to crazy schemes like this.
Yeah, and there was very little build up to that last sketch or a consequence of it, obviously. So I'm here with a great new sketch. Now, you've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, yeah?
Absolutely, it's a fantastic game. I'd highly recommend trying to get it, but buying it pre-owned so you don't actually have to give money to Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's all great. Now, I've not played it yet, as you said earlier, but I have read Kotaku, and I saw that there was, got quite popularly shared, that there's a character in the open world that you come across that's got like an axe buried in their head, and they're still like alive. They don't realise they've got the axe buried in their head. No,
I literally just got to that the other day. That was a good little kind of world event side quest type thing.
Yeah, and I've seen quite a few memes and stuff of it online. It's got some traction, it's got some legs, and it's still quite a new game. So I'm thinking, let's recreate that.
Okay, how? Right, sure. So we're going to put an axe in your head.
Well, I've not played the game, have I? It wouldn't make any sense if we did it in my head. But you've played the game. You've got past that point. So what I was thinking, right, is that where there's the meme of like this character in the head, we could replace it with like you with an axe in your head, or looking like it's an axe in your head, and we can film it, and it'll be like a massive, I don't know whatever that Tok-Tik platform is, or whatever the clock thing, the Chinese clock.
Yeah, the Chinese whatever. So we're going to do this with like Photoshop special effects, make it look like I've got an axe in my head, yeah?
You see, people are really savvy about special effects these days. I mean, they don't... It's like, people actually want to see some physicality and like some real stunt work. You know what? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's really sick of CG and, Photoshop and all these kind of things.
I could spot Photoshopping a mile off at the moment. But
exactly.
Where are you going with this? I don't think I like the sound of it.
Well... Check this bad boy out. It's pretty heavy.
Whoa!
I've got this wood chopping axe that I borrowed from a neighbour. I don't know why he's got it.
Did you borrow it from Jack Torrance?
No. That said, I haven't seen this guy's wife in a while. Anyway, he's lent to me. He's just said to don't worry about the red marks on the end. So it's pretty hefty. But here's my plan. Right, what we'll do, and this is going to be trick photography. We're going to put the camera up at an angle here. Yeah, can you see the camera? I've got it set up for you.
Yeah.
What I'll do is that you'll stand. Right, so you just stand back, stand slightly back. Right. I'll give you a run through before we actually do it.
Okay.
Is that I'm going to swing the axe towards your head. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to lift it up over my shoulder and swing it towards your head. And what you're going to do, and the camera won't see this bit. This ingenious bit is that you're going to catch it just as it's about to touch your head and stop it from making contact with your skull, yeah? And then hold it there.
Okay, this seems a little risky. Have you done a risk assessment?
I have done a risk assessment, and it came up green. It passed the risk assessment.
Okay, does that mean that it's no risk to you?
There was definitely no risk to me, and there was no risk to you as long as you were capable of catching an axe. And wait a sec, catch this.
Oh, fuck!
Okay, well, you nearly got that. I'll just throw the ball at you to see, but look, you nearly got it. So I think a bit more, that was a warm up. When it comes to the axe, you'll get it. So as long as you can catch this axe, it's going to be moving through my arms at extreme speed. You should be pretty good to just grab it, both hands, like grab it, and then it will look from the side like you're going, oh, I've got an axe in my head. Oh no! But you haven't really got an axe in the head because you've caught it. But it'll look like I've hit you with an axe at full speed, and that will become a tocky tick sensation or something. I don't know.
Tick tock tock.
Yes, whatever the kids watch, we'll make loads of money and be really famous, and you'll be able to, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do with your life, Dante, you can do it now. It's fine.
Nothing, but whatever. Okay, I've got nothing better to do, so let's try it.
Okay, so obviously, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing this big old axe over my head and catch it. Okay, so are we?
Can you even
give it a go? I'm not going to do it at full pelt. I'm pretty strong on buff and stuff like that, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a ready. So you ready for this? So I'm just going to bring it over on the count of 1, 2, 3.
Okay, can you just maybe throw it a little further so it actually reaches me next time?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is quite heavy. All right, one more go. I'm going to go. Ready? This one is just going to be ready. Just.
Ow! Ah!
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. Right. Dante.
Why is my ear on the floor?
Yeah.
Why is my ear there? Why is it not on my head?
Well, are you sure that's your ear?
It may have been there when I got here, but I doubt it.
Yeah, there is a little bit. There's a little bit of your ear has gone wonky, and put it this way, the axe isn't. Well, I'm just being quite honest here. This is kind of, you are not very good at catching. Okay,
but why is my jaw going sideways? It didn't used to go sideways.
Because you didn't catch it, and I will admit this is on me. I didn't account for the. Ooh, that's disgusting. For the wind.
What's all this red stuff?
Factor.
Why?
So the axe, you didn't catch the axe, and the wind's pushed it slightly to the side. So rather than it looking like it's gone on your head, it has grazed the side of your
face,
and neck, and a bit of your shoulder blade. You. I'm going to be honest with you. You look a little bit like someone's had to go on and eat damn cheese, but it's not too bad. Look, you just I'm
getting sleepy.
Yeah, you just I'm just going to quickly wipe down the handle of this axe a little bit. Right, I'm going to go find some ice for you, and you just bleed out quietly, and you'll be fine when you wake up, presumably. Gotta go. Bye. Oh, Dante, you're back in Jambags HQ. Oh, how are you? How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Well, yeah.
Hello?
Well, I think I have to. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn this side of you because I kind of don't have an ear. Or
you don't have an ear. What happened to the ear?
Well, I don't know. I just woke up in hospital and apparently I didn't have a side of my face, and I had a big kind of fire axe buried in kind of between my shoulder. And okay, they've managed to remove 90% of it, but you can see there's a big stick of wood still sticking out.
And did anyone know how that happened to you? Was there any witnesses or anything?
It's fine. I mean, it happened here in Jambags HQ, and but I tried to find the security tapes, and apparently they'd been pissed on and burned, and then kind of buried in the backyard where a dog shat on them. So I couldn't do much with them.
Upside down as well, apparently, from what I saw through the window. Yeah. When was this? When did this happen? Was it?
I've really completely lost track of time. Is it still January?
Yeah, no. So, well, I mean, it's mid of January now, but You know what? I remember seeing you wandering outside with an axe right before I left on a long journey to Barnard Castle.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds like somewhere you'd go to with witnesses. I guess.
But I mean, well, look, I mean, mate, whatever crazy hijinks you got up to that didn't involve me in any kind of way whatsoever, or any kind of liability for the Jambags Gaming podcast, I'm just glad you're here and you can hear at least half of what I'm saying to you. So,
what?
Anyway, shall we? Let's get a bit closer. Shall we finish off this month's podcast? We still haven't finished it yet.
Oh, really? Oh, it seems like the sort of thing we would have done. Okay,
well, if you hadn't gone and messed around with axes, maybe we would have done, and disappearing for ages to a hospital bed, But anyway, bygones.
I'm so sorry that I decided to try and catch an axe that was being swung at me by an unknown person. I feel like such a C word.
Expertly swung at you by an axe. Anyway, that's not matter. We've got some questions, so let's round out. We need to get some questions. We've got loyal listeners that have actually given us questions this month. Let's cover them off. So I've got a first one. I'm going to go with the question. I'm going to direct it to you.
All right.
What was, Dante? What was in your mind the best game of 2020? And this question comes from a long-time listener, second-time questioner, Grimmy. Grimmy Babes. I'm not entirely sure how the particular image likes to be spelled, but so what was your game of 2020?
I'm really enjoying Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I'm kind of counting that as maybe next year's game, so I don't think that counts necessarily. I think I probably have had the most fun playing Streets of Rage 4.
Ooh, that's an interesting choice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We've still yet to actually get our backsides in gear and do that co-op playthrough.
But it's a really nice game. Graphically, it looks great. It keeps the spirit of the originals, which we've both talked about on the podcast before, as being some of our favourite examples of scrolling beat 'em ups or brawler type games. And it just gave me that retro feeling, but also had that very modern and well designed feel to it. It was sort of the cartoon graphics were really well made, in the spirit of the old ones, but very very clearly well made and modern. So yeah, that's my pick for best game of the year.
Okay, that's an interesting one. I'm going to go with an equally weird one, which is that I've had to wrap my brains about this question because I'll be honest, I've not played an excessively large amount of games that released in 2020.
No.
I actually did quite a lot of work on chipping away my backlog, particularly on sort of PlayStation. But I did pick up some titles, and there have been some cracking games this year that I've enjoyed. I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. Great game.
Did that come out this year, or was that late last year?
Well, it came out in 2020. It came out last summer, didn't it? You bought it. Time
has really kind of lost all meaning to me, so that's why that's kind of a difficult question for that reason.
It is quite weird. I had to actually go back and look over my playlist of what I do maintain a list of what I've played because I'm that kind of player. But that was good. Hades has got a lot. I've enjoyed playing that. But the game that I enjoyed the most and that's been the most memorable for me is actually one that's at the moment is an Apple Arcade exclusive, and that is Little Orpheus. It's a game by Chinese Room developers who did Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and it's a bit of a departure for them, which is that the plot of it is that it's a platformer where you play as a Russian cosmonaut who is a bit of an unreliable narrator who has journeyed to the centre of the planet and found this amazing world. But he was caught wandering around back streets of Russian city by the KGB and has been brought under questioning because he was supposed to go to the centre of the earth and lost a nuclear weapon. He's being questioned by a Soviet general about what happened to him. And as I said, he's an unreliable narrator. It all goes across through a sort of platform with environmental storytelling. And as you go along, it gets more and more incredibly zany and bizarre. The music is pitch perfect. The voice acting between the general and the guy playing the cosmonaut is just spot perfect. And it's just a game I thought, I walked away going, as a platformer, it's nothing special, but as an experience, I was like, I've not really played a game like that before, and I really liked it. So I'm going to go Little Orpheus. If you've got an Apple device and you want to get Apple Arcade, I really recommend playing it. It's really good fun. It's about 5 or 6 hours long. It's in little episodes as well, so like it plays a bit like an old TV show. Like, so it has got episodes with credits for every like 25 minutes, half an hour, so you can do it in bite-sized chunks. I just love the concept of it. Really great. Great work by the Chinese Room yet again. So that's my pick of my favourite game of 2020.
Nice.
But Grimmy, if you've actually played any games in this year, do let us know if you've got any favourite games. But yeah, that's my choice. Do you have any more questions, Dante?
Yeah, I have a few actually from X23, fairly long time listener, but someone who's given us some good questions here, and asking about the most disappointing game releases, not only of this year but of all time. Have you had anything that really stands out as something that's let you down, as a game you're really looking forward to that just turned out to be bad, or just didn't happen, or something like that?
Okay, I'm going to be controversial with 2020, and I am going to say The Last of Us Part 2 was the most disappointing game release. Now, for anyone that's going to get hate, I'm not... it's got nothing to do with the fact that any of the woke elements and all the ridiculous, crap like that. I don't care that it's a largely female cast. I don't care that it's got a muscly woman in it. I don't care that it's got a trans character in it. I don't care. Just for someone that I love The Last of Us very, very much, thematically and story-wise, I do not think that The Last of Us Part 2 continued that story in a way that I personally liked. That's not saying I had an idea what it should be.
Okay.
But I'm also going to go out. I'm also going to say that it's a fantastic game. It's well made. So it's my disappointing, but it's a personal disappointment. It's not a bad game. It's a very, very good game. I would still recommend people play it. It's incredibly cinematic. It's gorgeous. The gameplay is really solid. The acting is excellent. The music's excellent. It is a really standout AAA experience. But for me, as someone that loved the first game so much, I don't know what I wanted from the game, but I felt that it took a character in a way that I don't think suited that character. And I didn't really even have a problem with the way the narrative unfolds. It's got a complicated narrative, which I know was very divisive. I don't mind that I'm not going to absolutely slate Naughty Dog for trying. They tried something very different. They could have done a really safe sequel. They didn't do that. They really tried to take it a different way. I personally didn't enjoy it. I found it did some elements from the first game, but didn't provide a satisfying continuation of that story. But it's such a personal, reference that I know people that played it and think it's better than the first game and think that the storyline is pitch perfect. It's very, very, but that's my personal disappointment. Not a bad game, arguably a fantastic game. It deserves a lot of accolades, but for me personally, I didn't enjoy it in context of the first game in the way I wanted to. Okay. But hey, that's
Thank you for saying that without any spoilers.
Also, Joel gets a pound of cocaine shot up his ass at the end.
No, Rudy, that was you.
Yeah, it was me, wasn't it? That was the last episode. Anyway. Yeah, I did investigate spoilers. So that's just the way that the cookie crumbled on that game for me.
Okay. So that's this year's one. Do you want to do your all-time one, or shall I do mine?
You do this year's, and then we'll go on to a long time.
Okay. One that's disappointed me, and again, I'm not sure whether to count this as next year, but I think it should have been out this year, so I've put it in there. And you might think I'm going to say Cyberpunk here, but again, to me, that game's not finished yet. That's not out yet. I'm going to say Watchdogs Legion is the game that has most disappointed me this year. Because I'm a really big fan of the other Watch Dogs games. I've really enjoyed Watch Dogs 1 and 2 for sort of different reasons. They had a good narrative element to them. And the third one just doesn't have that kind of narrative drive. The voice acting I find really subpar. When your DedSec handler says that let's unfuck London, it's It just made my heart sink as well. Plus, the control scheme seems like a step back from how it used to be in Watch Dogs 2, which I think sort of perfected it quite well. It's kind of gone back a step to a bit how it was with Watch Dogs 1, with a few other things built into it as well. I'm hoping that as I play it, that I might find more fun in the gameplay, because a lot of people are really kind of heralding the ability to choose how you approach missions differently, and it gives you a lot of free choice. But again, it's just that lack of narrative drive and decent voice acting, that really doesn't kind of suck me in like it did with the other games.
Yeah, that's just an interesting one. I wonder if the way you felt about the voice acting, the characterization of voices, is what other countries feel like when a game is made in their country. Or it's,
I think it might be.
You know, I mean, like for example, I'm not. I thought the voice acting in Assassin's Creed Odyssey was excellent, but I wonder if, like, people that are from Greece, or have like a kind of could be like, that doesn't sound anything like, that's insulting. We don't sound anything like that. I mean, obviously it's a voice in English, which is but.
Well, I will say on the subject of Valhalla, there are some interesting accents in that game. It isn't kind of the adult NPCs have all got kind of colloquial British accents, which sound kind of roughly in place with where they should be. But every now and then there are these children characters, and they have the broadest American accents you've ever heard. It's like, okay, how is that one the child of that one if that one sounds like he's from Wisconsin? It's weird.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
It's a bit strange, but yeah. So yeah, Watchdogs Legion was, for me, the game I was really quite hyped up about. The clues were there in the trailers. I should have listened, that it maybe wasn't going to be quite as good, but I still put it in, played it, and just didn't fall in love with it like the other games. So yeah, that one.
So of all time, was that the second part of the question?
Yes. Can you think of one that's really kind of stood out as being a major disappointment?
I tell you what, I have got one, and it's one that I came to quite late. So going back to PlayStation 2 era, and this is quite a famous one, for me, the PlayStation 1 era, I played them originally on PC, a lot of them, but fan of the Tomb Raider games. Said it before, really enjoyed Tomb Raiders 1 and 2 in particular. I don't think I actually played 3. I did play Last Revelation, or was that 3, or the Chronicles, but I was late getting a PlayStation 2. I didn't get a PS2 until actually probably midway, or even towards its end of life. And when I got it, and I didn't really follow much game journalism, I went out and bought Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, which was the first one there. And I didn't realise at the time that it had a very troubled development history. And the game, it's not atrociously bad. People might say it's playable. I did finish it. I think I did anyway. I played my way through it. But as I was playing it, I just got to a point where I realised that this isn't in any way fun. Like, it just wasn't a fun game. And it had none of the kind of charm of the original games. And I was like, maybe the original Tomb Raiders were crap. And then further on, Tomb Raider Legend and Anniversary came out and stuff on the PS2, and those were cracking games. And
good times.
And brought it back. So I think that's the one. That's one of the games where I got a PS2, and initially when I got the PS2, the first thing I bought for it was Angel of Darkness, I think, or one of the first games, because I just wanted to play it. For me for not reading reviews and stuff. It'd been out a while. I didn't buy it brand new or anything, but
we were young. What do we know about?
Yeah, and the internet wasn't. At that point, the internet, I had to go travel to university to go on campus to read the reviews, so I just didn't bother. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's my one. But how about you, Dante?
Okay. I don't know if it's controversial, but I might be sort of skirting around the question a little bit, because it's not. Well, I suppose it did come out eventually. It was the Duke Nukem sequel. Was it Duke Nukem Forever?
Yes. No. Yeah. Duke Nukem Forever was quite a disappointment, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think because it was basically vaporware after a while, and you kept kind of going into my local game store and saying, is it ever coming out? Because we didn't really have access to the internet to kind of check these things out. We had to go in and ask people in shops. And they kept saying it kept getting delayed, and then someone said it wasn't coming out, and then eventually it kind of did come out, but was pretty terrible. And that one really let me down. That was because being a mature kind of teenager as I was, who played a lot of video games, the ability to go into strip clubs and hand them money and see the tassels in the Duke Nukem games was kind of a high point. So I was hoping for kind of that sort of stuff again. Plus, I think by the time the second one came out, maybe my sense of humour had maybe a tiny bit gotten. No, that's completely wrong. To be honest, I would have enjoyed it as well, just as much. But that was disappointing. I was always more of a fan of Duke Nukem than say the Quake series, and I was looking forward to more, and it just didn't materialise.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's a famous one, and I think that the brand's never really recovered from that, has it really?
No, I think you're right. Actually, it's kind of it's not really. Gotten past
which is interesting because I recently played this year the sort of rebooted version of Shadow Warrior, the sort of recent one, which was basically a Duke Nukem clone. For those who are into DOS games.
I knew I remembered that name. Yeah, it was like a ninja version, but you weren't really a ninja. You just went around shooting.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't mess with Lo Wang. The main gimmick was the fact that the main character was called Lo Wang, and it just played on that. But actually, the rebooted series, was actually really, really fun. I played the first one. I think the second one's on Game Pass. It was really good, but it's interesting when I thought, well, so it is possible to do that. It's tongue in cheek. It plays upon the ridiculousness of the original, but also, knows what it's doing. Whereas I don't think that's actually happened with Duke Nukem. We have to go a long way after Duke Nukem Forever to be a game that's playable.
Yeah, no. Again, I think people might be waking up to the fact that it was pretty juvenile even back then. So.
Yeah, and you got. There is a way to bring back juvenile games and make them work, and I think Shadow Warrior did that.
Yes,
we did that in quite a clever way, which is that it wasn't just about there was more to it than just the Wang jokes. Although there were Wang jokes, the character was given context of being ridiculous and an idiot. The character's an idiot, not you as a player, except that he's an idiot. If you know what I mean, a dickhead. But that works. But so that's fair enough. But do we have any final questions? I guess moving on.
Last question. Again, we've probably waffled on about these ones for too long, but is from any game. I mean, I'd say RPG, but really any game with NPCs in it. Who is your most fancied NPC character in a video game of all time?
Oh gosh, it's hard not to go into creepy realms, isn't it? With this one,
yeah.
Who's the most NPC? So we're not talking main character.
Yeah. No, not someone you played as, so I'm not allowed to say Cassandra, sadly.
Yes. Well, unless you played as Alexius, and then she is an NPC.
That's true, yeah.
But then she'd be evil, wouldn't she? I think whichever way you play it around, the one is a baddie, one's a goodie.
The other sibling is a baddie, which again probably would.
Tell you what, I'm going to let you go first because I'm thinking if I stay mine, I'm going to stand on your toes. So you go with the way you're going to go, and then I'll think of my response.
Okay, so I mean, there's probably too many that I have time to mention here, but I remember there was a character called Velvet Velour from the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines series. Was always quite a good character, but I am gonna go with Miranda Lawson from the Mass Effect series.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
If you've not played the Mass Effect series, I mean, she's based on Yvonne Strahovski. If you've ever seen Chuck and I think the later seasons of Dexter, she was in that. And she played what was quite a sort of cold character to start off with, who eventually warmed up to your Commander Shepard. Again, assuming you played the male Commander Shepard. She was sadly unromanceable by my female Commander Shepard, despite me really, really trying. But yeah, no, she was a really nice character. She had a lot of baggage. Kind of really took a while for her to open up to you, but once she did, it was quite nice. And like I say, the fact that she looked like someone who was in Chuck, who I also quite liked, definitely didn't hurt. So I'll stick with those two for now. Have you thought of any since I've been rambling on?
Yeah. Oh, it's really. Finding it really hard because, and that's no pun intended. Sorry, God, I just need to.
Oops.
It's late, guys. It's hard to come up. I keep saying it. To come up with a
It's difficult.
Hottest MP. I feel like that'll come across pervy with whatever I say. I'm going to be honest with you, which is somewhere. But
are we hoping I was going to out-perv you?
I was kind of. Yeah, you gave a well-rounded consideration. Now I feel that like going like, oh, I like this one because she's got boobies. Won't work quite as well. I think.
Yeah, there's so many that are actual playable characters, aren't there? Like Bayonetta and...
Yeah, see, Bayonetta is a character where I've played Bayonetta and I was like, I don't know if I should feel bad about enjoying this game because I don't know who's being exploited here, if it's me or a female character for titillation. I couldn't work out where it said it was too... I don't know. I mean, it's a bit like the character Quiet in Metal Gear Solid 5. Which is, know, I would say that
slightly ridiculous.
It's a bit like it's one of those characters in the games where I felt uncomfortable. My wife walked in and saw me playing it because I could not justify in the game why there was this. She's like, you're in a helicopter flying into your mission, and she's literally lounging around and spreading herself out for no other reason than titillation. And that's it. That's the reason she's. And the in-game reason why this, for those aren't aware, there's a sniper who wears nothing but a thong and a bra. And that's it. And the reason is she's genetically engineered and breathes through her skin, so she suffocates if she wears clothes.
Perfect sense.
Trying to explain that to your wife. It sounds as hollow as it does. So I wouldn't say she's not attractive. I don't know. I feel I'm really boring, which is that as a character of an NPC, the one I think the most attractive is probably Yennefer from The Witcher 3, which is a really obvious one. I know a lot of people go with Triss. I just felt as a character, she's a strong, dominant character. I quite like it. I've read the books. She's a bit of a horrible person, but also, at the same time, is a kind of good person. There's complexity to her. And yeah, she's very beautiful. So, there you go. That's my most offensive one.
She has that kind of femme fatale thing going on, doesn't she? I mean, you don't want to trust her completely.
Yeah, and the kind of the revelation,
and
for those that have watched the first season of The Witcher and stuff, of how she's tied to Geralt, which does play out and affect the relationship in the Witcher 3 game, is a really interesting one, which there's a reason why she's a bit of a cow. But at the same time, she really cares for Ciri, and most of her motivation, almost all the motivations in the game, are to protect, Ciri's character, which I really liked as well. So, what I mean is that if I got rid of my wife, Yennefer could help look after the kids. That's what I'm sort of saying. I've got a practical element to it.
she could be the au pair, could she?
No. She'd no, I wouldn't pay her. That'd be weird. She'd be an equal life partner that could help the raising of my children. That was a likely scenario, which is not.
It's always kind of tricky picking from The Witcher 3, and obviously there's Yennefer and there's Triss. I mean, there's even Ciri, although Geralt's kind of her daddy, and that kind of makes it a bit strange. But yeah, no, there's a lot of good, strong female characters in The Witcher 3. So yeah, Yennefer, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
And some of the other kind of the witch characters as well that are not love interest for Geralt. There's some interesting ones there too. So it's a great game. Lots of options in there. So that's our most fancied NPC characters.
Wow. Okay, so on that kind of slightly pervy note, should we wrap things up?
I think we need to. So I'm going to talk about where we can find the Jambags crew on the socials to start off with.
Go.
You can find the Jambags crew on Twitter, so at Jambags_UK, which is, you'll find the main Jambags account handled by Rudy Manchego, and at DanSolo96 is where you'll find the Dante Rodriguez account on Twitter. At Jambags_UK is also where you can find us on Instagram. There's the official Jambags Instagram account. Mostly at the moment you can see pictures of shafts of light poking through trees in medieval England in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You'll see quite a lot of that stuff, as well as previous video game crushes of mine from games over the years, where again, even in that last segment, I didn't mention Second Sister from Jedi Fallen Order, which again is another one you'll see on the Instagram account. You can also find us on YouTube. You'll see again at Jambags_UK. You'll be able to find some of our content on there, and also talk to us on the various message boards. Have I covered all the socials there, Rudy?
I believe so, but let's just talk about, where you can listen to us if you're not already listening to us. We are available on Spotify, so you can follow us on Spotify. That would be great if you do listen to us there. You can do the follow thing. If you want to, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, where it would be amazing if you could leave a starred review, just to let us know. That really helps with the algorithms. And you can also pick us up on most good podcast apps that are based on RSS feeds. So a lot of the ones that are available on app stores, that, get an RSS feed, you can search Jambags and will appear automatically on there for your listening pleasure. We also upload a version of this to YouTube on our YouTube channel, along with some other tat that we've created over the last few years. So you can always listen to there and drop us a like, subscribe, comment, all those good things. That would be really, really helpful. We do try and reply to every comment that's added to it as well.
Facebook! I forgot Facebook. We're on Facebook. Jambags
there
is on
you go.
Facebook.
Wow, that's this whole outro ruined. Well done, Dante. That's it. We've been doing this for nearly 3 years. Still haven't got it right.
That's the first one I've ballsed up quite as badly as that.
Yeah, but it's it's okay. But so you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, RSS feeds, on YouTube as well. Do like and subscribe on all those platforms, please. It really helps. And always, if you want to engage with us as well, we put out shout outs for questions, like we have done, generally on social media, before we record this stuff. So if you want to get questions or anything else, go for it.
Love talking about video games with absolutely anyone, so please do get in touch just to chat about what games you're enjoying at the moment, or tell us we suck, whatever. It's absolutely fine. We're just happy to speak to someone, to know that someone's out there listening.
Correct. And that wraps it up. Thanks very much, Jambaggers, for another fun month of what appears to be lockdown joy. And we will talk to you again soon.
Hello, Doctor. I'm just logging into the Skype now, and I'm turning my camera on.
Hello there. Is this Dante Rodriguez? Is this Dante?
Yeah, no, this is Dante. I'm here again for my was it third session now? Yeah,
excellent, Dante. This is your third session with us here at the online therapy people. We're here to talk about, again for the third week in a row, as to why you mysteriously blacked out and chopped your own ear and neck into pieces, and have no recollection of doing so, as continues to be the case.
Well, I was hoping we were going to build up to that a bit more, but okay, I suppose it's time we addressed it directly.
Yes, I think it's time that you explained this, why you chopped your own ear off, then forgot all about it.
It's still a mystery to me. I can't, I'm trying to put it together about why it happened, but it's, nothing's really coming. There's a complete mental blank there, to be honest.
Okay, and have the police said anything to you about what they think might have happened when you chopped your own ear off completely?
No, they tried to analyse the urine sample from the tapes and the dog poo. It's all got kind of mixed in, and the fact that it was buried upside down means it's completely unreadable now.
Yes, why did you do that as well, Dante? That's confusing me, but that's not as important as you chopping your ear off.
I knew maybe I just had a complete break for some reason, and I can't think why.
There are some obvious reasons why. Maybe perhaps we could touch on at some point. And why it was definitely you that chopped your own ear off and not Rudy.
Okay, that's very specific. I don't know that I've mentioned.
Oh, you did. Obviously, you mentioned the Rudy on session.
It's not really that important to my life, outside of my.
No,
podcast,
he is quite important. I think you'll find that he's very important, and he is definitely not the person that chopped your ear off.
Okay. Hang on a minute. Why can I see a GameCube behind you?
Oh, it is a therapeutic. It's a Rorschach GameCube.
How are you in? You're in Rudy Manchego's office room.
Yeah, yes, he
left the space to me. What?
Yes. Anyway. Oh no.
Is that beard real?
I think the reason why you've forgotten everything is Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk. Rudy!
Bye. Bye. Bye.